Hi, this is Maureen Keefe with Intuition Matters Unveiled. IMU. Welcome to the very first Psychic Hot Seat. I am here to answer all your pressing questions. Remember, it's a public venue. I'm not really able to see comment. Oh, maybe I can. But when people start putting in comments, I'll try to answer questions from there. I'm not going to put myself at risk by answering politically hot topics. I value my Facebook account. I do have Messenger open on another computer, so if you would like to ask questions privately, I am happy to answer any questions you have. Personal nature, use Facebook Messenger to do that so that we keep your privacy private. I am first going to talk about me since I didn't tell anybody I was coming on. Well, just a few people, but I didn't make any announcements. Um, and so, first off, my name is Maureen Keefe. I've been doing professional psychic readings for a service for the last 2 years. It has by far and above the most accelerated learning curve for learning how to be a psychic reader on the planet. I have been doing psychic readings all my life. You know, you learn to read people. I remember being 10 years old when I realized that that when you hear words in your head, that's God or your guides. And so I was 10 years old or 13 years old when I discovered that. I was 17 years old when I was at the bank and got this extreme visceral reaction, like a dread clenching in my stomach. And it was with an immediate download in my knowingness. So that's claircognizance, clear knowing. The visceral is I believe it's clairsentience, clear feeling. And so I got the gut feeling with an immediate knowingness, and the guidance was to go to my boyfriend's apartment complex. And I did, and discovered that he had been lying to me. He was very intoxicated, and it was the beginning of a whole new chapter of my life. But what's notable is the intuitive hit to go there. Another time that's super notable, I had a mate who passed from a heart attack, and it was very traumatic trying to get into the apartment to help him, and it's a trauma story. But 6 months later, I had to drive past his apartment every day when I was going to college, university, and one day I had this hit to go to the apartment, and that place had nothing but trauma for me. I did not want to go there, and I was getting that visceral gut feeling again. And then I proceeded to argue with my guides, and I'm like, I'm not going, and then the intensity of my gut would increase, and so then I would go, okay, I'll go, and then it would go away. And so just as I was approaching the turnoff, I said, I'm not going. It hit me like a ton of bricks. I said, okay, I'll go. And I pulled into the parking lot, and I looked up at his apartment, and there was a Christmas tree all lit up. That's where he had died. And there was a Christmas tree all lit up. And the message to me was, life goes on, and this home is now filled with love. And it was permission to let go. It was permission to, love myself. And that's what the message, that's why I was being guided there. So I am assuming that nobody is seeing me. It's got 0 viewers, and that's fine. I don't mind making a video. So, I've done readings for people privately. I mean, one-on-one, and cards, and talking, and really enjoying each other, and having a really great experience connecting with spirit. It's a sacred act. I just love everything about it. It inspires people. I get vision, information, answer questions, and the synergy of cards or any other oracle tools. Um, I just love the creativity of it and the connection of it. And when I started doing it work for the surface, it's paid by the minute. So these people want answers now. And because if you pay for a whole hour, it's almost $500 an hour. And some people do talk that long, but others are like quick 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. And you've got to be fast. And so I joke about being a professional magic 8 ball. I use all my clairs in a reading, but what I've learned to do to get super fast answers is to get super fast answers, I've learned to use muscle testing. And this is how I do muscle testing. You create a ring with one hand, and it's my non-dominant hand, and then use the index finger of your other hand through the link. Let's see what's the best way. And that's a no, and that's a yes. So it sounds all simple and like, why doesn't everybody do it? But you have to be super neutral, have to be grounded and in your body, and you have to be present. And neutral means no emotions and no attachment to outcome. And so when I go neutral, I like to put my hands together. My friend Della taught me this years ago. And I learned elsewhere too about all the meridians in your fingers. When you put your hands together, you're connecting all your meridians. And when you're grounded, you're fully in your body. And that helps plug you into all your circuits, all your circuitry. And so you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on. And so you have to be present. Hydrated is really good, water. And then you can also use divination tools. But so I just ask questions in a format to get yes or no answers. Using muscle testing, you can get any yes or no answer. And I've heard that a professional psychic is accurate 80% of the time, which, chance is 50-50. So that's all I know. I don't know what my accuracy rate is, but I can guess. And then Whitney, if you want to ask questions in Messenger, I won't say whose question I'm answering. If you have anything private you want to ask. And then what do you do if you're not sure you're getting a clear, solid answer? So one thing that I do is I have a check stop. So I go through a couple things to see if my energy's upright, because I say upright because of Jimmy Mack. I never used to be able to use muscle testing, and it made me so mad because I knew it was valuable and worked, and I couldn't understand why I couldn't get it to work. What the deal is as an empath and being super sensitive and also having a lot of trauma, emotional trauma in my past, I get triggered easily. And when I get triggered, it's like my energies run backwards. And so Jimmy Mack talked about like a sunflower is supposed to be at your head and the roots are supposed to be at your feet. And so when I feel off or when I know I've been triggered, first, one thing that I do is I'll ask, my name is Maureen, and it holds true. My name is Mickey Mouse, and it breaks. So Mickey Mouse gets a no. The other day, I was really deep into a reading all by myself in the bathtub, and I asked my name, and then I asked Mickey Mouse, and Mickey Mouse was getting a yes. And I had to ask, is that because I've gone global, and I'm like all energies, because that's how like broad my questioning was, and I got a yes. So, but back to your question about discernment. So I have a few check stops about my name, and then a Mickey Mouse, and Mickey Mouse should break through. And then another thing is Jimmy Mack talks about the sunflower at your head and the roots at your feet. And when your energies start running reverse, um, I do this thing like bringing it back online, bringing that sunflower back to the top and the roots back to the bottom. And it's just a quick minute. Another thing I'll do is I'll close my eyes and I'll just kind of sink in and see if I feel present. So then another thing for accuracy is if you feel like you've been triggered and you're not getting a no on Mickey Mouse with muscle testing, or you feel like you're off, there's a exercise I learned through Donna Eden. She's very wise. Wrote a book called Energy Medicine. And one of it is tapping. I like to cross my arms and do that. Another thing is right hand, left knee, left hand, right knee, and you're crossing over your body. There's another one where you cross your legs and you put your hands on your feet. Williams Cook method. You can look those up with Donna Eden. So let's just see if I can read some questions here. Refining discernment, double checking things. So I do like to use the muscle testing for that, and internal feng shui, and we have a sense of when things are off. And so that's a really great way to double check. And let's see. Oh, empath for sure. Like that is such a buzzword right now, mostly because as the veils thin, we're getting more and more sensitive, aware. Our DNA is coming online with all our innate abilities. Telepathy, that's our normal way of knowing. Get ready. So start monitoring your thoughts, right? All right, so let's see. See things, so that's clairvoyance. Get things in vibes. The vibes are probably clairsentience, like these feelings, clear feelings. We also get awarenesses, which I would call claircognizance, clear knowing. It's also clairgnostic or clairgnosis, Gnosis. There's a book you can get called the Psychic Workbook by Karen Fox, and it has just information about learning about your clairs. Clairs are like for every physical ability sense, for every physical sense you have a psychic sense and ability. So seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, feeling. And so, okay, a message and you can't get it. I can't hear or understand the message, not nor from whom, but I know it's strong and it's trying to say something. So I'm going to tune in and I'm going to see if I can get who that's from for you. All right, and so first I'm going to ask, is this her high self? I'm getting a no. Is this a deceased relative? And I'm getting a yes, and that's kind of what I thought it was. Let me just see. I hope it's okay. Tell me if it's okay to, kind of guess about who it might be. All right, so let me just tune in and see. I'm just gonna, well, it doesn't matter if I ask you publicly on here. The question would be, is your mother still with us? So Whitney, if you could just drop your answer in, that would let me know. But I do get a sense that it is someone who loves you. I have a handout on how to communicate with those who've passed. That is super simple. Well, relatively simple. The bottom line is you already are communicating with someone who's passed. Whenever we think about someone we love who has passed, we're connecting with them. Whenever we are having a conversation in our heart with them or our head with them, we're connecting with them. How I recommend people do it is that they get really present and then close your eyes and tap into that person's essence. Like, try to picture their face and their smile and see if you can hear their laugh. And you'll feel like this heart connection. And at that point, like I'm getting tingles. So I wonder if I could get a message for you. It was close, like, okay, let's just see. Okay. So it is a person close to Whitney, like a mother figure, and I am asking for her to amp up any message she might have for me. So I'm just going to describe my process. So I'm got my hands connected, connecting all my meridians, pressing my thumbs against my heart, getting quiet and sinking in. And then I'm like, mediumship is not my forte, but I will tell you how I do it. Okay, so sinking in, and then it's kind of like you just kind of expand your energy and go quiet, like blank, like when you're trying to find a word when you're writing, you just kind of allow it to come to you. So that's how I do it. And what you want to do is pay attention to any image flashes, pictures, symbols, colors, words you might hear. You might hear it directly. And then another way to do it is with, I like to do it on the computer. And you can type a question, and the first answer that comes to mind, you type the answer. And then you type another question, and the first thing that comes to mind, you type the answer. And it can be like statements, like you could say something that you want them to know. And then whatever comes to you, you type the answer. And I really love encouraging people to do it that way, either using computer or using writing. Or you can even use a recorder where you're talking it. But when you ask your question, then make sure you vocalize the answer that you're perceiving, or the imagery that you're perceiving, or the feelings you're experiencing. And if you try to read for somebody else, try not to question what you're getting. Even when you're doing it for yourself, try not to question what you're getting. You want to just be uncensored and sort it out later. Because like if you've ever watched John Edwards or John Holland, they'll come up with all this stuff, and people will be like, no, I don't know anybody. And then they write in later and said, oh my God, that was my dad. How could I not even know? Like, they were just nervous and weren't connecting the dots. Okay, so clearly I'm kind of failing at coming through with a message here. Let's see if I can get one. Okay, so this is for Whitney. Okay. So when I don't get answers, then the next thing that I start doing is asking questions. And so I'll ask this person, do you want Whitney to learn mediumship? And I'm going to get yes, because that was like the first hit I got right away. And so it is, when it's someone you love, that's as easy as it is you just start typing and writing, and just get out of your own way. I encourage you to write it down, because you're going to be getting really amazing messages. And then later you'll discount that this was real. And because that's what we do. Kind of like childbirth, you forget how much you heard at the time. So, and then you go on to have children again. But you just want to be uncensored, and you want to write the first thing that comes, or the impressions. Use all your senses, any fragrances or odors, any sounds, any impressions, awarenesses, thoughts, memories. Loved ones will use songs, lyrics, music, notes, conversations people will have. So spirit uses our imagination. Spirit uses our, like, they can nudge us with thoughts, like subliminals, like watching all of a sudden you're hungry for popcorn, and it's because they've been putting the subliminals of popcorn in the video. So that's how easy it is. It can be flickering lights. That's super common because of electromagnetics. And another thing is because, let's see, another way is, I had something that went away. Um, oh, like birds or pets or wildlife. All of a sudden you'll notice odd behavior just out of character, or they'll start kind of reminding you of your loved one who's passed. All right. So, Whitney, your message is to learn how to do mediumship. There's a lot of free stuff. There's a lot of ebooks. James Van Prague is a good, he's a psychic medium. I don't know if John Edwards has books out, but I bet he does. You can search for ebooks. They're pretty affordable. And there's courses too. Like you can study with people or do digital courses. But I would just first start with practicing. Okay, let's see who else. Yay! Yeah. Yeah. So, Susan, you're an energy worker too. And so you really understand the flow of energy and how important that is just for our own well being. So is our spinal alignment. I have been extremely fatigued. Like, let's see if I can look in the right place. I've been extremely fatigued where I just like feeling like I'm the crawling corpse. And if I lay on the floor and get my back to adjust, all of a sudden I have energy again. And it's usually upper mid back for me. So that's interesting for our energy levels. But also, I think Donna Eden's trying, to help reduce triggers. I think she calls them strange flows. So research strange flows as well. I want to share my my super favorite go-to these days. So we are bombarded with overstimulation. We are bombarded with TMI. We are bombarded with global trauma, not just, like our neighborhood or our country. We are hearing pain and trauma and suffering from around the planet. And I'm not going to even go into current events. It's mostly media and access, and the imagery we are seeing is upsetting. And so it's critical that we learn a few things. And one is to self-soothe and self-regulate. Self-soothing is our internal dialogue. So if you've got a ruthless inner critic, let's make a pinky swear. We are firing that inner critic right now. It is critical for us to create sanctuary in our inner realms. So be your best friend, cheerleader, nurturing, comforting, supportive. You really want to be talking yourself down from the fear, talking yourself down from the self-judgment, beating yourself, kicking yourself, no more. It's critical to connect with our inner children and reparent them, telling them all the things we needed to hear. I always tell people when you feel triggered, tune into how old you feel in that moment. How old does that emotion feel? And so mine is often at 5. And then I gather her to me like a little 5-year-old, like she's my daughter. And I just comfort her and tell her I love her and all the things I needed to hear as a 5-year-old that would calm me or make me feel safe. It's really important that we find ways to help ourselves feel safe. And there's a couple of exercises. So this is from the vagus nerve. It's a nerve that goes from the top of your head, it's through your face and down your neck and into your stomach. And there's a massive lack of stimulation to our vagus nerve because we're breathing way up here. This is where we're breathing. And so we never exercise or flex our diaphragm. And so one exercise to do to get out of trauma or get out of fight or flight is to hold your breath. First, let your air out because you're holding it all the time. And let your air out, then take in a full deep breath and hold it. And while you're holding it, I'm not going to turn the video down because I'm wearing a loose shirt, but you pump your belly button to your spine. Let's see, I'll hold still and do it. It's like you're coughing inside without letting the air out. Or you're flexing your tummy to your spine and releasing it, spine, release, and you do it. Pump, 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 pause. Pump, 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 pause. Pump, 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 pause until you can't hold your breath anymore. At that point, when you let your air out, you'll get a head rush. And when you do, that's a good thing. That's a bliss moment. You are, experiencing blood flow to your brain and circulation and more oxygenation, but it's helping to get your nervous system out of fight or flight. It resets your nervous system. So do a few rounds of that. You can head off an anxiety attack. You can head off anxiety in general. You can, over time, if you use it every day, I recommend 5 minutes in the morning before you even get out of bed. What a great way to start your day, because you are balancing your brain. It promotes whole brain thinking. It promotes proper digestion, good circulation. And so really starting your day on the right foot. And use it anytime you feel triggered. It helps with depression as well, and used regularly, you can offset post-traumatic stress triggers. And I also do trauma clearing. So if you have resurfacing, recycling, traumas in your relationships, abandonment, unrequited love, giving and not getting, we can clear those past traumas and open the floodgates for your most beloved desires to flow to you now. So let's play. And these are super fast. Like, I did 10 years of psychotherapy, probably saved my life, but didn't resolve a lot of my stuff. And this is resolving our stuff. This is integration. This is clearing. This is resetting. This is reclaiming our power and self-love. Key. So the simple way to do the vagus nerve is to exhale through your nose. I just learned this, and it's Stephen Porges, Porges, and he teaches about polyvagal theory. And that's self-regulation and self-soothing. Very fascinating stuff. Very, very fascinating stuff. And that is exhale through your nose, and you're doing it fully and completely, where you completely empty your lungs, and then breathe in any way you want, and then exhale through your nose, completely emptying your lungs. And so that's getting us out of the breathing up here thing. So that'll reset you out of fight or flight. And so I am so happy you girls are here helping me along the way with what to talk about. You're welcome to ask more questions if you would like. Oh yeah, hydration. Thank you, Susan. That's super brilliant. A friend of mine, Kelly Coffee, is doing these really cool masterminds, and she's recommending hydrating every 15 minutes. Julie Renee Doring was a brain rejuvenation specialist. She healed herself from extraordinary things. And she recommends 4 ounces every 20 minutes to keep your brain hydrated for focus and for feeling good. And also, drinking more water helps youthen our appearance because it plumps up our tissues. And I'm dehydrated and sleep deprived. So let's see what else. All right. see. Oh, so I do want to go back to the empath thing. It's super critical to um, clear our energy field. He talks about feeling other people's feelings and being, beat up by feeling other people's feelings. But it's not empathic, it's empath. Being empathic means you feel or you're able to perceive another's experience. Being an empath means you're literally feeling somebody else's feelings in your body as though they were your own. And sometimes you don't even know that they're someone else's. Mostly you don't know they're someone else's. So if you're in a room with someone who's upset, but they're not dealing with their issues, you will be bouncing off the walls processing their issues. And so if you notice you're overreacting, if you notice that you're like all tense and tight and freaked out and there's no reason for it, you're likely perceiving someone else's issues who's not dealing with it. So being aware and asking, is this mine? That's your most powerful front line. And then I teach a tornado exercise that I love. It's so simple. Counterclockwise tornado, you're in the middle of it, it spins around you, and you just set the intention that anybody's energies that you've taken on are spun to the heart of the earth where they're transmuted by Mother Earth, because she's already ascended and she wants to help us ascend, because until we do, we're kind of a problem. All right, so clearing those energies at that time, we can also release any of our own energies. We're ready to let go of any outmoded belief systems, any fear, anxiety, depression, anger, bitterness, resentment. Just make it a practice. And then I have you bring in pure source energy and your soul's pure essence. And it's the most amazing, simple exercise on the planet for empaths. And you can teach your kids who are empaths how to do it. The tornado can be used to suck up boogeymen and monsters. And you can also spin a tornado around someone who's toxic in your midst. If you want to get them out of, make sure you're not absorbing their toxic energies or their anger or their weird behavior, spin a tornado around them, and you can even spin one around you as well. And that's just taking those energies and sending them to the heart of the earth instead of you processing it. Because as an empath, what you're actually doing is transmuting darkness off the planet, transmuting dense energies off the planet, using your own energy body, using your own aura. And you came in to do that. It's your sacred service. So the better you learn how to manage your energy and you're consciously choosing to clear yourself, the more empowered you're going to be, because it's not going to take you out of the game. If you are dragged down by other people's energies, you're not going to sleep well. You're not going to have access to, the whole spectrum of knowing. You're going to be more reactive because their energies are amplifying your issues. So it's really super powerful to do these things yourself every day. So I'm just seeing if anyone has private questions. All right. So also, okay, here's a secret. And so you two girls are the only ones who gets to hear this. Okay. So aside from, you can still do your sacred service using the empath tornado, because Mother Earth is transmuting those energies for her. We are facilitating by sending them to her. And so she's on board, high five, being a team player. She's loving us. She's always loving us, even though we're not always nice to her. And the other piece is, I believe that empaths, I believe that we're all empaths, but I believe that spiritual warrior empaths really have come in to dysfunctional families often, very painful life experiences, very traumatic life experiences. And part of that is I believe we are on a secret mission to liberate the planet from oppression, suppression, domination, and abuse. And so, how we do that, you have to do it as an inside job because um, the Earth life experience is a hologram and it's a holodeck for mastery. And it can't be affected from the outside unless someone from the inside is asking for help. So ask for help, ask for help, ask for help. And even when you feel like you're not getting it, you'd be amazed. One other thing I want to go back to the empath piece is when we're being crushed under the bus by entities, by other people, by mental health issues, by trauma, when we react in bitterness, rage, attack, condemnation, we are literally opening portals that bring in more company that is going to work to mess with our heads, bring density down upon our thoughts, twang our emotions, amp up the volume, stumbling blocks, problems with our electronics. So really, it's up to us. It's up to conscious to make conscious choices, to self-regulate, to self-monitor, and to bring it back home. The more you become neutral and not complain about what's happening, I'm a complainer, the more you choose instead what you want to be feeling, choose instead what you are choosing to experience. Incremental course creations, we're unplugging our attention from that which we do not want to be experiencing. And that's really the key of the hologram here is it's about focus, choice, and the emotions we engage. So if you're getting crushed under the bus, you're in an initiation. You're in a boot camp training of mastery. So mine was to learn about the unseen realms. Mine was to conquer fear. And mine was to go within and also self-love. And claiming those things have transformed my world. Okay, so then back to the empath. Sacred service. We come in on these secret missions. And how we do that is we have to embody the exact frequencies that we are taking off planet. So we have these traumas, this abuse, this woundings, this bad behavior, mental health issues, drug addiction, sex abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse. And as we spend the rest of our lives healing ourselves from these things, we transmute it from the planet. And every time we do, it's like the 100th monkey effect. It helps other people to make those same decisions to help themselves. So I bow to the warrioresses and warriors on the planet that are transmuting and transcending terrible, heinous abuse and trauma and pain and sickness and mental health issues, because every choice you make, you are doing massive, massive, massive expansion of light and love. And so blessings and thank you for that. Let's see if we have more questions. So I don't know how to see why. I'm seeing 20 comments, but I'm only seeing like 4 of them. Huh. No, I don't know. Let's look here. All right. So let's just see. All right. So Whitney, I have a quick question for you. If you would perceive someone close to you like a mom, and that's who gets a yes that it's from. I don't get like names and things, or at least not yet. Um, and if you wanted to do a session, I would offer you a discount on that. I charge $100 an hour. I could do it for 60, and we could kind of hammer through it together and see if we can figure out who this is for you. You can message me, private message me for that. And so let's see. Aw, thanks, honey. Blessings. All right. 47 minutes. Anybody want to ask more questions? The fastest way to expand your psychic abilities is to use them. The most important piece for me, because girl, I am an immediate gratification girl. I wanted it full on, full sentences. What color? I wanted a 3D in front of me. No, I really don't want any of that 3D in front of me. I really don't want that 3D in front of me. I'll just psychically perceive it. Thank you very much. Anyway, yeah, there was my mate who passed, who in the very beginning I talked about the Christmas tree picture. I used to say, I want cold, hard evidence that you are okay beyond the veils. And one day I was just shut my eyes to fall asleep, and I was in a really dark depression. It was a big deal. And I had just shut my eyes to go to sleep, and I felt him forehead to forehead, like with his hands behind my head, crushing his forehead to my forehead. I could feel his fingers, I could feel his forehead, and of course it was cold. Bless you, Jerry. I know you're there. But I don't ask for evidence like that anymore. Careful what you ask for. But anyway, so psychic abilities are super subtle. Woo! Like quick flash. It's there, it's gone. If you ask for guidance, pay attention, because you're going to get that answer right away. Don't discount anything. Do not say I'm making it up, because how do you think guidance comes through? It's coming through our imagination. It's coming through that channel in our heart. The heart is the portal to all realms. So get in your heart space, sink in, get out of your head, and you can do this. I can't remember who taught me this. It could have been Dorian Light, or who else was teaching this? If I remember, I'll tell you. But she talked about like an elevator, stepping into the elevator in your head and sinking it down into your heart. So that's another way to get heart-centered. Another way to get heart-centered is to think about puppies, kittens, babies, anything that makes your heart sing, anything that just makes you feel yummy all over. And Wendy Kennedy talks about that, getting into that space to recharge our batteries, to rejuvenate with life force, and that when we're not in that space, we're disconnected from source and therefore depleting and aging. So being heart-centered can also be rejuvenating. So that's cool. So psychic information comes in super fast, a super flash, an impression, a thought. If you think about all the thoughts you've ever had, all the possibilities that could come through, and you come through with one thing or, a few things, don't discount it. Don't discount it. Okay, so, and pay attention to memories, feelings, sensations. Like you could feel like there's a sense of expansion. Like for me, that's a yes. Being hard to breathe, like pressure is hard to breathe for me, is no. Or and gut feeling, something's off, pay attention. So start to learn your own language. Like dream dictionaries, like writing down dreams and interpreting dreams. My favorite dictionary is Betty Bethard's Dream Symbols for Self-Understanding. It's not as comprehensive as I hope it's not backwards. It's not as comprehensive as it could be, but it's really good, and it's about personal growth, so that's why I really like it. But it's like learning your own language. So kind of like John Edwards will say, father figure, like dad. He'll use like this whole spectrum of this symbol, like a rose means mom, or a rose means love, or so figure out your own vocabulary. So take notes, jot down symbols, what they mean to you, and you're learning your own psychic language. So having to another thing about being a professional psychic online is or hotline is they expect you to be every kind of psychic there is, and that was the best thing that ever happened to me, because my clairs were all online, but I just wasn't giving myself credence for having those abilities. And now I use it all, and I'm aware of it all, just like healing energy. We all have the ability to send energy through our hands. Just get in a love space, feel it come through your arms and out your hands, sending it either with your eyes closed, envisioning the person receiving it, or someone close to you can put your hands on them and just send love. That was one of the things I learned in healing touch. I was trained in healing touch. My precious sister-in-law, Karen, taught me to generate a ball of pink light. Pink is very special to her. It represents the Divine Mother to her. And filling it up, filling it up, filling it up, and then boom, like sending it to you like a love bomb. And I was sicker than a dog with the worst body aches on the planet. And I asked her if she would work on me, and she was completely able to abate my body aches in 2 rounds. And I had been sick for like 7-8 days. So by the time I asked, it works. The magic works, and we all have it. It's just about choosing to believe it, choosing to acknowledge it, choosing to receive it, choosing to use it. And I just want to thank all of you for being here, the whole twos of yous. And let's see if there was anybody else that joined us. And I do want to try to do this again in a week. I will promote it next time. So get your questions ready, and do feel free that if they're personal, that I'll have you do it in Messenger, and I won't mention your name. So thank you, girls, for being here and helping me through this. I am sending you so much love, and I want to thank M Mulryan for really encouraging me to pull the trigger on this. She is a coach, and she got me over the hump into doing land. I was in analysis paralysis land for a really long time. And so just do it. And she just gently got me here. She had all the right things to say, and it worked. So we get by with a little help from our friends, from our coaches, our healers, our therapists, our psychics, and our communities and our groups. And oh my God, like Susan, I don't know where I'd be without you, girl. And Whitney, I really look forward to getting to know you. You're on my Intuition Matters page. There is a group that I have done absolutely nothing in, but I will. And then I do plan on creating groups with live calls. It'll be paid. And you'll be able to ask any questions you want. And any personal questions, any global questions, any spiritual questions. And I'll see what I can create in the Intuition Matters Unveiled group on Facebook too. See where we go from here. I'm just juggling a lot. But go to maureenkeefe.com, see the offerings that my amazing, he's not my employee, he's my hero. The amazing Carl has helped me orchestrate, and I'll just say, I really want it to look like this, and he does it. Um, and I also want to give a shout out to Della McGee, who's now Della Webb. She was one of the very first people who supported my psychic development. She has been doing videos for decades, and she has an event coming up that is intuition. Go to innerpeacemovementstudio.com. She has a blog on dellamcgee.com, but and I think you can get to her services from there too. But she's doing this workshop on intuition and discernment. I'll be doing classes soon in the future, but not immediately, and this one's coming up. So check out what she has to offer. I have one-on-one retreat offerings, 3-day immersion retreats. Imagine 3 days with your own private psychic to sort out what it is that you want, need, and how to make it happen, and what's possible. So check out maureenkeefe.com. Check out maureenkeefe.com/retreats. Drop me a messenger message and look for another live in a week. Love you guys. Thanks for coming. Thanks for asking questions. Blessings. Love, love, love.